Hey everybody, it's Matt here and welcome to the channel. And I don't normally do videos like this, but I saw the recent Nintendo Direct and there was so much in it that I really enjoyed, that I really wanted to talk about. And I talked about it with some friends of mine and I just want to talk about it so much more that I was like, wait a minute, hold on. There's a YouTube channel that we have those guys play. You might have heard of it. You're watching a video on it right now. So I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Let's actually talk about this Nintendo Direct. And when it comes to some of the stuff in this Direct, there is some stuff that I just thought, you know, it's cool, but it's not really my thing, or it's a franchise that I want to get into, but I just not, I'm not really into it right now. So it looked cool, but it's not really my personal highlights. So when it comes to these highlights, these are ones that I found specifically amazing. If there's any that I don't talk about actually, that you actually enjoy, please comment down below. I would love to hear your personal highlights, because when it comes to something like a Nintendo Direct, there's not going to be something for everyone. There's definitely some stuff here that I was like, you know, really not for me. Like, I'm probably never going to play it, but I immediately thought about some friends of mine and I was like, I gotta recommend this to them. So either way, let's actually talk about some of my personal highlights from the Nintendo Direct right now. Shake It, Amigo! So if you don't know, because it might be newer to the channel, we've actually played Samba de Amigo, the Wii version, on this very channel, usually for Cinco de Mayo, and I actually have a review that I'm this close to finishing for our Game Time channel, and it's actually based on the Wii version, and I filmed it, I edited it. There's just like a few more things that I have to put in there that I was like, you know what, if it's gonna take this long, I might as well just end up waiting to actually put it out on May 5th on Cinco de Mayo, and then this drops. And it's so funny, I have to re-record some of the review, because when talking about this game, or talking about the Wii version of the game, I thought, man, how cool would it be to actually have this on the Switch? And if you're not familiar with the franchise, yes, it is a Dreamcast game that also ended up coming out on the Wii, having it's a rhythm game that has some really cool songs on there, some that you know, some that you don't know, and this is actually going to be like a day one purchase for me, interestingly enough. So when I saw the title for Deca Police, I was like, you know, this game, like, the graphics look great, but I really don't want to be in like a police procedural kind of world for the most part. You know, I've seen shows like Law & Order SVU, I've seen CSI in passing, and I just thought, you know, I enjoyed Law & Order back in the day, but like, just, I don't know, like over time, it's just not really my thing anymore. So I was like, is this game really going to be for me? And then once they introduced some of the more supernatural elements of it, and just some other really cool, interesting gameplay mechanics, as you can see right now on the screen, I was immediately sold. And seeing that's actually going to be released, or that it's being developed by at Level 5, and enjoying some of their stuff that they've done in the past, and really feeling like they were never going to come back again. I think I talked about this a while back on the channel, that it just seemed like they were, you know, they were shutting down their US distribution channels and whatnot, so there didn't seem like there was ever going to be a US release Level 5 game again. This also does open the door, hopefully, potentially, to Yokai Watch, which actually got a re-release, a port on the Switch, that is actually just not available anywhere legally in the US. I'm not saying that there isn't a translation somewhere, somehow, but you cannot, you know, just go into a store and buy that game in the US. So actually being able to see that they're, you know, starting to bring more games back to the US, seeing that this is one of those games, it just looks fascinating, and I definitely do want to check it out. I want some more information. It's not like a day one purchase for me just yet, but I do want a bit more information. But from what I've seen so far, I really enjoy the aesthetics, I really enjoy the vibes, and I feel like, you know, this is something that you should definitely look out for. Sea of Stars. Oh my god, I have been looking into this game, seeing people talk about it on Twitter for a while now, and so we've known the release date for a while now. It's actually coming out in August, but still though, seeing some more footage of this, just oh god, I need more of this in my life. I cannot believe that we're still getting games like this. I mean, okay, I can kind of believe it, but it's still nice to see nonetheless that it's not just oh hey, play this game that we've, you know, played before potentially. I mean, for me personally, there's a lot of classics out there you might be surprised that I actually have not had the chance to play. Thankfully though, I do have some of the consoles to play them, but I haven't had the chance to play. But when it comes to a game like this, you know, evoking some of that, obviously, you know, classic RPG fare, 16-bit, 8-bit RPG fare, but also at the same time bringing something new to the table, I definitely cannot wait for Sea of Stars. And so it's coming out in August, and I definitely think that it might be a day one purchase for me, unless of course it is on Game Pass, in which case I will be playing it eventually. I will sit there and I'll be like, oh man, I gotta play this like right now. This is amazing, I have to do it. And then I don't, because life gets in the way. Hi! It's Kirby time! So there's actually a new mode coming to Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe called Magolor Epilogue. Now Magolor is a character from the game and I know nothing about him. I actually really enjoyed Kirby as a kid, but I didn't really keep up with the series as much when it went to the Wii and the Wii U, and so I'm playing catch up with that, and I really wanted to play this game so badly, and I was like, oh man, I need to find a way to play it. But now that it's actually coming onto the Switch, I'm like, actually, oh, I can find a way to play it. So I'm actually going to be trying to get it through GameFly, just renting it. By the way, yes, GameFly does exist, and I do have it. And I don't use it as often as I should, very much like the Game Pass thing. But you know what? I'm going to get it on GameFly probably day one, and I'm going to enjoy that game so much. Same thing, by the way, with the new Kirby and Forgotten Lands. I have not gotten it yet, but I'm probably going to get it through GameFly, and I'm going to have a lot of fun doing so. Hopefully sooner rather than later. I don't have games from GameFly that I still haven't returned in like months or something. I'm fine, I'm good. So you can probably tell from the wall of consoles behind me and also just my face, I am someone who has aged. I don't want to call myself old. I am 30, and I know there's some people out there that are like, oh, you're 30 years young. No, I don't like that. I don't like using that term. But I'm also, you know, I'm not old, everyone. If I say it enough times, it'll be true that I'm not old. But I will say, though, that I am someone who grew up with the Game Boy Color, and so I didn't really know too much about the Game Boy growing up, but I did know about the Game Boy Color and, of course, the Advance. So when it comes to Game Boy Color and the Advance, I just have a special place in my heart. I find so many different ways to try to play, you know, those games, and I have really been sitting here for a while and been like, why, you know, are they not added to the Nintendo Switch Online? Because the fact that, look, you know, yes, Nintendo does have to pay their own workers to try to find ways to emulate these games. Just because they're, you know, able to be emulated online doesn't mean that they're stealing those emulators that have been worked on by people just to be able to put them on their official hardware. They are working on them from the ground up. But when it comes to Game Boy and Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance, they're not going to be as hard to emulate as something like, you know, the N64. So, like, what was the holdup here? And I do have some theories. You know, I won't talk about them in this video. I'll talk about them in a future video if you want me to. But here they are. Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance. Now, there is not a huge selection, I gotta keep it real with y'all, but I do think that even though the selection is small, and they did announce some more games that are coming, but it's Nintendo, so when are they really going to be coming? They didn't really give a date on those. They straight up shadow dropped Game Boy and Game Boy Advance today. However, we do have to acknowledge that when it comes to the Game Boy games, those are only available on the basic Nintendo Switch Online service tier, and if you have the special super, you know, chocolatey awesome tier that has Sega Genesis and 64, it now also has Game Boy Advance. So remember that. I don't think it's that huge of a price increase. If you get a bunch of friends together, you can just, you know, get the family plan and basically be paying around the same price or less than you would if you were just paying for the playing the games and paying for the $20 basic tier version. Which, remember, you hear $20 and you're like, or you know, any amount and you're like, really, $20? Not a month, a year. Yes, once per year. I give money to one of my friends once per year because I'm part of their general family plan. Me and about, I think it's like 6 other people. And literally I give it to the one designated friend. We all have that one friend. We're like, you are the friend who is going to be taking the money. And so we all give her the money. And it's literally like $16 to $19 per year. Honestly, to be able to play these with the, you know, the ease of use. And it's funny, I'm sure some of you out there are like, oh, but you know, you can just emulate them. And it's true. I have a smartphone. I have a modded Wii U. I have 2 Nintendo Switches, and one of them is stock. So do the math. But the point, though, is that when it comes to ease of use, not just for me, but for all of you out there, some of you who, even though, to be fair, even on like the cheapest mobile phone possible, as long as it's an Android, you can fairly easily end up emulating Game Boy and Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games. But you don't have, you know, a controller, kind of like a Switch kind. I actually am pointing to one that I have that I had to pay extra money for. So if you're just, you know, you don't want to play some more action games on this phone or on your phone, if you don't want to end up modding anything or trying to get other, you know, hardware and whatnot, I actually have some other like third-party like Game Boy Advance stuff. I also have the DS as well, but not everyone out there is going to have that. So yes, for me personally, this is actually going to be a fun way to replay some stuff, but also not. You know, I just have other options. I've already played them recently. I'm going to be fine. But this is for all of you out there who don't have those options, who already pay just for the online stuff or for, you know, actually being able to go online, or just for Nintendo 64 games or whatever it is you might be paying it for. Now you have the chance to play these games, and that's fantastic. fantastic. And me personally, I was actually going to be playing Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga through my Wii U. Now, I can actually save my Wii U for stuff that is exclusive to the Wii U and just end up playing it on the Game Boy Advance, or on the, Nintendo Switch Online's Game Boy Advance side, which brings me back to my original point, which was, yes, there aren't a lot of games, but Jesus H. Christ, are they quality games. Like, this is a fantastic selection. I will be doing a separate review of them to talk about whether or not maybe the emulation does suck, but either way, though, I will be talking about it in depth over at our Game Time channel. But as of right now, though, I think it's a fantastic opportunity. Metroid Prime Remastered. So when it comes to the Metroid Prime series, I'm actually not super familiar with it. I have friends who love it to death, and I actually have the first game in my collection, and I've had it for years, and I played it, and I enjoyed it, but I never got around to beating it. So this year I actually have a New Year's resolution that I usually don't like to have those, but I was like, you know what, no, I'm gonna have one, and it's gonna be to play more video games, and beat them too, actually, because I have a problem where I play them, but I don't always beat them. Tell me if you have one down below. So I saw Metroid Prime recently, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna get the GameCube out. The laser doesn't work anymore. I was like, but you know what? I have a Wii. I have a Wii U that's modded. So I was like, I'm gonna be able to do it. I'm gonna be able to do it. It's gonna be great. And then this drops, and I've heard rumors about this. I'm sure you have as well. That there's gonna be a remastered Metroid Prime. I was like, is it gonna be in like a trilogy, or is it gonna be just a standalone game? I don't care. But it's been shadow dropped. It's coming out today. Well, when I say today, I mean as of the recording of this video. Once this video is out, it's been on the eShop for like 1 to 2 days, and the physical version, by the way, is coming out a bit later. But what's cool is that even though, yes, it is $40 for digital game, I definitely won't be picking that up. I'll be busting out that GameCube version. But here's the cool thing, though. It is remastered from what I've seen and heard online. It's not just some like random port. They actually did do some work, not just on the graphics themselves, but also under the hood as well. Because, again, like I mentioned before, as someone who has 2 Nintendo Switches and one of them is stock, I can tell you for sure that when it comes to GameCube games, you can't just throw them onto a Switch and have them work easily. Even with overclocking the Switch, there are still some issues. So they actually had to do some work in this. So I do understand why it's $40. I just know that personally, I'm probably not going to be putting that money down, and I'm just going to be playing my GameCube version. But for all of you that are happy about it, hell yeah. Master Detective Archives Rain Code. This is a game that is a very long title, but it's a game that I've been seeing on and off through different directs and whatnot, and people talking about it online. And I love the art style. I love the way it looks. I love the gameplay mechanics from what we've seen so far, and I definitely want to check it out. It's just a game that, I think it's going to be slept on. I don't think a lot of people are going to pick it up, sadly. I hope that they do. I hope that being featured in these Nintendo Directs actually means that a lot of people pick this game up, because this game, just from the looks of it and the vibes of it, definitely feels like a game that people are not going to pick up when it's brand new. It's not going to sell as well, and then all of a sudden in 5 to 10 years you're going to be seeing videos with thumbnails like this talking about this classic hidden gem, underrated gem hidden, Rain Code. So I would definitely recommend that if this game looks interesting to you, check it out. I know that I will be probably a day one purchase. There's like a special edition I saw online, and I was like, that is way too expensive. No. So I'll probably be picking up like a normal edition of the game and whatnot, but it still does look pretty cool, and it definitely piqued my interest. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. So I have yet to beat Breath of the Wild. I ended up playing it so much, and I had to put it down and go, I need to do other things right now. And I need to get back to it because that game sucked me in so much. I want to say I beat half the game, but I honestly don't know because of how open the game is. I just enjoyed traveling around so much, and I remember getting scared at some points because there was this creature, this really creepy looking creature, like kind of like the one from Cowboy Bebop, or it was a character from Cowboy Bebop, and I was on my horse and it attacked me, and I was like, no, not my horse, no! And so I was nervous. And so I think it was like a few days later, I was like, I'm putting this game down. And so I cared so much about my horse in the game. So when it comes to this game, though, it's coming out so soon. I gotta beat Breath of the Wild real freaking soon because this game looks fantastic. We all thought it was gonna be Breath of the Wild too. Of course, we've known that it's Tears of the Kingdom for a while. Some of these screenshots. Some of these parts of this trailer are ones that we've seen before, but having the voice acting in, getting a bit more of an overlook on what's actually happening in the game, I'm blown away. I've seen some people online say that they want to see more dungeons, and I also feel the same way. Is it just gonna be dungeons in the sky, kind of open air? What's gonna happen there? Is most of the stuff that we've seen so far that's in the sky, is that going to be dungeons? You know, is that like the more dungeon-esque part of it, whereas you're going to be on the ground for most of the game? I don't know, pure speculation, but it would be interesting if, because I have a feeling that the entire game isn't going to be in the sky, but you know what? When you play Breath of the Wild and you're like, oh, okay, cool, this is the area that we're going to be stuck in for the whole game, and then it opens up to everything else. You just don't know what's going to happen with this series. You don't know what's going to happen with Nintendo. You do know that apparently it's $70, so no, for me, for right now. I don't think it's going to be a day one purchase. There is so many other games out there, both past and present. I'm going to try to find it on sale, or I'm going to be seeing if GameFly ever has any copies available ever, and they can ship it to me. But at $70, I just cannot make that jump yet. I want to see if there's maybe any chance that, you know, even though it's a Nintendo game, maybe just randomly Amazon has too many in stock and it does go down. That's happened to me before. I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. But if it is, though, maybe I pick it up. I mean, from the way it looks, it's definitely making me want to pick it up day one, but I just can't do 70 for a game. I've yet to pay $70 for a video game, and I can't justify doing it yet. But if there is a game that would justify that, it would be Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So if it's justifying that for you, please tell me down below. Would you get it digital or physical? I'll say this much. Digital, never for 70. Physical? I gotta wait for it to settle in. It's what it is. I just can't do it right now. It's too new. It's too fresh. It don't feel right. And I don't have a PS5, so it's not like I've been doing it for that either. So that's the thing. I just have yet to do it for any singular game, and that's why it just feels so new to me. So those are my personal highlights from this Nintendo Direct, and if you want me to do any more Directs just in the future, then please comment down below, or really not just Directs, by the way, any other like State of Plays, or any other kind of like, you know, streamed conference stuff and whatnot, then please comment down below and I'll know that you want videos just like this. I don't have the ability to actually stream them as they go live, but hey, if you want me to just, regardless of if they're live or not, just kind of talk about them for 40 minutes, just watch them with you, then again, please comment down below. I'd love to hear that as well. And if you have any other personal highlights, like I mentioned the beginning of the video, and you just want to mention any series that really stuck out to you, comment section is always open. So thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to like and subscribe. Love you all, take care, and I hope you tune in next time. So see ya.